What's up, guys? Rob Kuhn here. Look, in poker, sometimes you have to make reads. Sometimes you have to make a read so strong and so wild that you don't care what the internet has to say. But what happens if that read is incorrect? In today's video, we're going to see a hand between Nick Vertucci and a player called the Dark Knight that is fascinating and baffling. Let's go and get in the action.
I think he's had 14 shots of tequila.
Granny's a great
14.
person.
That's impressive.
Johnny's no slouch.
One thing I don't like
He's
about
had a
Johnny,
few himself, hasn't he?
he don't sing when he's losing. He cannot sing. That's what I don't like.
Wow, imagine.
Not sing?
We finally
When
get a
he's
hero
down.
on our show, and you give
Oh,
him
when he's down,
crap.
he can't sing.
Unbelievable, man.
Sing the blues. Let's go.
Just for reference before this hand actually begins, this is the 25-50 game at the Hustler, which is a really interesting format. Everyone antes for $25, meaning the price to actually play the hand is very, very cheap. You already have $25 in, it's 25 more to call. So we're starting to see hands like Ace-8 off go for the limp as it's only 25 more. Action gets to Nick in the hijack with Ace-King off, and he makes it 500 to go. This is a good sizing. He wants to take down the pot pre-flop. There's no bigger win than really taking down a pot pre-flop. And everyone behind him calls. Hands like Ace-8, personally, I would like to see fold, as these hands have really bad reverse implied odds, and of course 7-8 and Jack-9 are not very good hands either. The Dark Knight definitely has the best hand to call with, as he can set mine with 4 other players in the pot. Let's continue on.
Let's go.
Five-way action, heading to the flop.
That's what I thought. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Too.
Yeah, I have cards.
Nick has Ace-King again. This time he has 2 overs and a gutter. Mike X is open-ended. What else we got going on? Patrick's got a gutter ball. Dark Net is going to bet 2,000 with craps on Queen 10-6 into 4 opponents. What's Nick going to do with the Ace-King? He's going to call. Patrick's out of there. Have you had enough, Mike X? No, he's just going to call. Guess who has the best hand currently? Dark Knight.
Action checks to Dark Knight, and he decides to bet with pocket threes. Now, this is ill-advised, to say the least. There's no other way to put it. This is a disaster of a bet, but, you know, sometimes you got to go for it. Really, hands you want to be betting here are definitely your higher equity hands. So if you have clubs, or if you have a hand like King Jack or Jack 9, these are the type of hands you probably want to see bet into 4 other players. Generally, you want to check, but if you are going to see bet, you probably don't want to have pocket threes, and you probably at least want to have a club so you can have some backdoor flush equity. Anyway, with that said, Nick has a decision to call or raise. Folding is obviously not an option. Personally, I would just like to see the call, which he ends up doing, and Mike X goes for the overcall. Let's carry on.
Who gets this kind of value with threes? Dark Knight. Uh-oh. Vertucci turns Broadway with the nut flush draw. Let's see if the Dark Knight can slow down. He can.
That 4,400.
Mike X now has a pair, still open-ended, has a flush draw, and he's drawing dead and makes a good fold. Can the Dark Knight get away from these 2 red threes?
With 8,600 in the middle, action checks to Nick, who turns Broadway and also has the backdoor nut flush draw, and bets 4,400. Mike X makes a very disciplined fold, having second pair open-ended. Decides to fold on the button with a Jack-9, turning second pair and a flush draw and open-ended. And this is a good fold. He only has 10,000 back. He has about 4,400 in the middle. Oftentimes he's drawing dead. In this case, he's drawing dead. So this is a good fold. And action gets to Dark Knight, who's obviously going to fold. Well, this wouldn't be a video if he actually did fold. Let's see what happens next.
On Queen 6-10, Jack, 3 clubs. Against that man, Mr. Only Poker, Nick Vertucci. I don't know if I could fold these threes.
44?
4,400.
Can't blame him for continuing here. You beat twos in case Nick has those.
Can you count?
DJF is a great commentator.
Count, yeah, for the rest of the time.
I was thinking about shoving.
30, 30, 30, 30,
30, sir.
35,
25,
40.
you're out. I'm 25, 30, 30, now 5. I'm 35, 40, but $40, 35, 40. I'm at 35, down 40, 40, now 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Come on, Dark Knight. You got this.
But that's 4,400.
But I need to know like how much he has back in the stack.
He just has like that much right here.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think in this instance, you want to tell him.
Raise 15 large.
Wow.
Leading up to the check raise, the action and the mannerisms are quite strange in this hand. He asked him how much he has back, which is not something that you generally see too much when their chips are present. I don't think Nick has big chips based on his stack. It looks like he has the chips we can see on the screen right here, which if you have bad eyesight, sure, you can ask somebody how much they have back, whatever. With that said, generally this is for Hollywooding reasons, but this is not what he did. He goes for the check raise with pocket threes when the flush gets there, after betting into 4 players on the flop. What is happening? I love this stream. Anyway, let's see how Nick Vertucci responds.
Nick nods his head. He's got to draw to the nuts in case he's behind. He's not. He just needs to fade his cards somehow falling off the table and being declared dead hand. If he can do that, he's going to win a nice one and get a much-needed W tonight. They're going to be talking about this one on Only Poker. You know that. Turn Broadway. You have a redraw for the nut flush. You guys had 14 shots of tequila. I think put in the call and then call the river.
And that's exactly what I personally would do. I would just call and call the river. Yes, it is a very strange action by Dark Knight betting into 4 players on the flop, us calling, and then him going for a check raise on the turn. However, we are simply too high up in our range, and we block the hands that he could potentially have for value. So if he has the nut flush and he decides to check raise him on the turn, having the ace of clubs is very powerful here. Basically, what the Dark Knight is representing is something like 10x of clubs. This is kind of the only hand that he's really trying to represent. Maybe he has like the king high flush or something like that as well. The problem with live poker is when someone is 14 shots deep, they can have anything. Sometimes people just go off. And oftentimes on these stream shows, you do see people go off in these kind of pretty crazy spots. With that said, on the turn, after getting check raise, I would simply just call and then reevaluate the river. Perhaps you can fold the river. It's not like the clearest call spot in the world because the action is so damn strong. However, you do have the nut redraw here and you already turned a straight. Sometimes they're just simply overplaying 2-pair, a set, or a straight with like king 9 or 8-9. Anyway, let's see what Nick does.
Fold. Fold.
Wait, what?
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Oh no.
Nice bet.
Thank you.
52 in here.
What?
Surprising.
Yeah, I had ace of clubs.
Oh no.
Ace of clubs?
Our
Yes.
dealer Sammy's in the chat saying no.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if it matters that much,
It matters.
right?
You're blocking the hand that can do that. It matters.
Yeah, it's probably bad.
What an absolutely wild hand. Nick, if you watch this video, don't ban me from the Hustler. I haven't played yet. That's a great fold, Nick. I would have folded too. Anyway, guys, hope you guys like this analysis. Much love.